I can't complain. I always say that every day above the ground is a good day.
True.
Being blessed by the Lord, you cannot forget about that. You cannot take that for granted.
True.
But anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get involved with our Brothers Keepers?
Before I go into that, I just want to say my heart, thoughts, and prayers go out to all those that were impacted by the storms of yesterday. I said a prayer for them last night, said another prayer for them this morning. So I want to start off by saying that, we stand with you guys. So me personally, with our Brothers Keepers, I was working for another organization and I was missing something in life. So I was looking for a way to give back to my community, and I was, happy to be able to become a part of our Brothers Keepers and be able to give back to a community that I love and where I grew up, which is East St. Louis, Illinois.
Okay. And how long have you been the Director of Development?
Actually, I've only been director for about 4 or 5 months, so relatively new. I started the end of January.
Okay, now you said you wanted to give back to the community. Why did you want to give back to the community?
Well, because when I first started working, I worked I worked for HUD. For Public Housing Authority, and that was and I worked in and around the East St. Louis area, and that was one of the most fulfilling positions I'd ever had. And as I grew, I became more responsible as far as positions go, and I kind of got away from being able to serve the people of the community that I love, and this allowed me to get back to that.
Okay, and who is the gentleman sitting next to you?
This is one of our client specialists. This is, we affectionately refer to him as Rickathon. Rick?
Rickathon. Okay, I like the jewelry too.
Thank you.
Okay, so you are a client specialist, and okay, so what is your role there?
What isn't my role is probably more like it, but we have a variety of roles between myself, Kevin, and Ernest, from counselor to cook.
Yeah, we have one other
From
client
counselor to
specialist,
cook.
Kat, who
Yeah, because we cook on certain days
Yes,
just
we
to
do.
make the place feel a lot more homey. You know, when you've been gone, you haven't had a home cooked meal in a while, and we have someone that donates their time and come in, and she cooks a home cooked meal every Thursday at 11 o'clock.
by 11 o'clock.
So,
Okay, so how long have you been there?
since inception almost, 2019.
2019.
Yes, right after my release from federal prison.
So what happened? Why did you? Where were you? Why were you in prison? If you don't
Oh,
mind
I don't
talking
mind
about
marijuana. I took them to trial, and they don't like it when you go to trial. So I got an exorbitant amount of years. 16 years I did in federal prison.
that. For marijuana? Are you kidding me?
No. And when I got home, they were selling marijuana.
Right.
So you were a consumer. You weren't a seller.
I was a seller.
You were?
Yeah, I was in business just like they are now. And I supported my community with that business very well.
So how long did you support your community with that business? How long did you do that?
Well, let them tell it. I did for 10 years before they finally caught me, because they gave me something called relevant conduct, which takes it back to when they think you started. So it doesn't matter if I was buying a half ounce and selling a nickel bag. That's when you started.
Right.
So do you regret being in that business? Do you
No.
regret that?
No. I learned a lot about myself when I went to federal prison, because that's all I had. And when I was away from the distractions of society, so to speak, I got a chance to learn myself.
What'd you learn about yourself?
That we're all the same. That the religions, they talk about one specific thing, and that's love.
Mm-hmm.
When people would ask me what my religion is because they saw me walking a certain way, I would say my religion is love. Because I've seen religion do more harm than it has help. Mo-
So, what is our Brothers Keepers? And it started in 2019. And what are its goals?
So at Brothers Keepers, we are a reentry center, and we help people that are recently out of prison or jail. We primarily service the area of St. Clair County and Illinois and in East St. Louis. We're located in East St. Louis. And basically what we do is we provide all types of services from clothing to bus passes to, as Rick
Hygiene,
mentioned, hygiene kits,
right?
um, uh,
Food,
food, as Rick mentioned.
just
We
about
also,
everything.
right. We also, well, one of the problems that returning citizens, and that's what we refer to them as, returning citizens. One of the problems that they have is, getting a job, and they can't get a job unless they have a valid ID, and they can't get a valid ID because they don't have the credentials to get a valid ID.
Correct.
And we go through to help them get those credentials, help them get that valid ID, and we also, right in our office, help them build a resume and apply for jobs right in the computers that we have. We also have a literacy class. I want to give a shout out to our area director. That's Kirsten Peterson, wonderful lady. You can't believe how good her heart is concerning returning citizens. So I want to give her a shout out.
Yes, for sure.
And we have our literacy classes. We also have peer counseling. Rick, Kat, and Ernest are our three client specialists, and they all are returning citizens. And we do weekly counseling, peer counseling, and classes, mentoring classes with the returning citizens.
Yes.
Rick,
We have a class called Life Skills class.
there you go.
Mandatory as part of the program every Wednesday. At
What does
10
that life skills class consist of?
of skills to take care of your life. When you return home, there's certain things you need to do to stay out of prison because you're a felon now. And it's easy for you to go back if you don't follow a certain path. And we try to give them that certain path.
What do you teach? What do you teach them?
To stay away from certain places, doing certain, around certain people, so certain things won't happen. People, places, and things. It's not complicated. You're around good people, mostly good things are going to happen.
Right.
You're around negative people, mostly
You
negative
tend to
things are
adopt
gonna happen.
their
Exactly.
traits.
Exactly. So we try to give them a bright light to say that there's a different way to live. And your life isn't meant to be lived behind bars. No one, well, mostly no one. Life is meant to be behind bars.
Mm-hmm.
And I must add that we shouldn't put ourselves in that position anyway as a people so-called of color because we don't get justice in this system. I must add that.
Okay. So you were talking about the credentials that you need to get an ID. What are those credentials?
They need a birth certificate. They may need, depending upon, because a lot of people, they are released in the East St. Louis area, but they may live in other parts of the area. So they may need social security card. They may need a birth certificate. All of that to get their excuse me, to get their driver's license so they can apply for a job, because without the driver's license they can't apply for a job. So that's kind of like step one in getting in the job application process.
Okay. Have there been clients of our Brothers Keepers who have returned because of recidivism?
Quite a few.
Why do you think that is?
They can't break old habits. Old habits are hard to break, especially with certain elements out here. Let me just say this. We went through the crack epidemic, and I was part of that myself. a recovering addict, you always are. But this meth that's out here now, almost no one ever recovers. And luckily it hasn't touched our community that bad, but other people's community is really doing a disservice. And unless certain things are put in place, it's going to run rapid through these small towns throughout Illinois and Missouri. And nothing seems to be done about it. You know, maybe they think they're getting rid of undesirables or something, but these are people too, and I don't see enough help for this opioid epidemic that we have.
Kevin, I'm sorry. Can I add on? I want to say something about recidivism relative to OBK. The national average for recidivism is somewhere between, depending upon who you believe, somewhere between 50 and 20% is the national average for recidivism. And the clients that we have, the clients that go through OBK, and that's what we affectionately call ourselves, OBK. We are somewhere under 10%. So if our clients come to OBK, stay with us, go through the process, go through the program, our recidivism is extremely low compared to the national average. That's why what we do is so important.
Why do you think it's so low?
I think it's so low because we care so much, because we have people like Rick, Ernest, Kat, Kirsten, that we all care so much about the returning citizens, and they can see that when they come to us, and they know that they can get help with staying in our program. So I think it's I always talk about us being kind of like a very dysfunctional family. We're like a huge dysfunctional family, including our returning citizens. And I think they feel that, and they know that they can come to us when they maybe start to backslide a bit. They can come to us to get back on the right track.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So why do you think there is such a big opioid epidemic in this country?
Ooh. You want to go down that rabbit hole?
I'll go down there.
Okay. Nobody knows who makes methamphetamine or this ice or whatever it is that's out here, but everybody's on it. Luckily not in our community once again, but I'm a humanitarian. I don't care whose community it's in. Nobody's going to jail for it, and it's running rampant. And once again, eugenics are in place, if you ask me. They want to get rid of certain people, and this is a good way to do it.
Why do you think they want to get rid of certain people?
The population is trying to be reduced to a certain number. Oh, we're really going down this hole.
Go on.
And they've coming up with all kind of ways to do it from all different angles.
Who's they?
The powers that be, not the ones that we see, because they're just put in front. There's people we'll never see that actually run things. In my opinion. That's my humble opinion. So
did you feel that when you were selling marijuana, did you feel that you were harming the community? Or
no.
How'd you feel?
No, marijuana has been throughout the ages, and it was only in America that they thought to outlaw it because of certain, it helps open your kundalini chakras if used correctly. And they don't want that kind of enhancement on your spirituality. That's one because when they made marijuana illegal, they used rhetoric like Negroes are going to be smoking it with white women. Mm-hmm. And then they passed the law.
Yeah, 1937 was when they deemed marijuana as harmful.
Mm-hmm. So you know that's the kind of rhetoric that was being passed around. So when you got stupid stuff like that being said, and it's really a medicinal product if used correctly, because anything can be misused, it's for your benefit. It's an herb.
Yeah, the guy that deemed it harmful was an ardent racist anyway.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Mm-hmm.
The guy was named Harry. I can't remember his last name.
Yeah, it's Harry something.
Yeah. So that's my opinion about that. That's one of the main reasons they don't want it out there, because it's it's an enhancement for us if used correctly.
Yeah, they use it to cure glaucoma.
And many other things, medicinal. Many other things medicinal. It's the healing of the nation, as some people call it. So that's some people's actually religious belief, that it's the healing of the nation. And it's an herb, it's a seed, it's what so-called God said in the Bible that you are supposed to have, every herb-bearing seed.
So tell me about OBK's workforce development plan.
Workforce development plan. Basically, what we do is we partner with different agencies. I'll give you an example: Tyson Food, Auto Spa, and we put our returning citizens in touch with those employers to help them get jobs. And some of them, Tyson, we have a direct line to their website and the hiring manager, and they can typically find employment within a week or so at Tyson. And Auto Spa, in a lot of cases, they're hiring our returning citizens. We'll give them bus passes to get from our office in East St. Louis up to Auto Spa in Fairview Heights, Illinois, and they walk away from that initial interview with a job.
Okay, so what do the client specialists provide?
The client specialists provide everything from they do the initial intake where they gather all the information, and Rick can probably speak to this better than me since he is a client specialist, but I'll give you the background. They provide the primary intake, get the overall kind of like background from the returning citizen, and then they develop a care plan, kind of like a management plan from a caseworker, to figure out what this person needs and how we can get them to their goal. Rick, I'll let you go explain.
Yes, very good explanation. I think me being a client specialist, the main thing I do, besides the paperwork, you got to do the paperwork. I'm always reminded of that. But yes, besides the paperwork, the counseling is what's most important to me.
Yes.
I like to delve into the person's personal life, see what led them to that, see what, if we can get rid of certain reasons why certain things happen, maybe they won't happen again. And me, I like to get into the person's psyche and hopefully give them good direction to never make the same mistake twice, because we all make mistakes, but some are life-changing, and we don't want that to occur. So we want to give them the best advice possible, and that's the most important part of the process to me, giving them good, sound advice, because that's all we can do actually besides giving them material things. You want to give them good advice so they can move out correctly. It's up to them to do it, though. That's all you. Well, I've done a lot more than just give them advice, man. If I can tell you some of the stuff I've done since I started this job, moving beds, moving refrigerators, breaking up fights. Right. I mean, selling organs. Man, I've done it all.
Yes.
But the pay, we ain't even gonna come into that because it ain't even about to pay. It better not be about to pay.
Right.
Because for me, but anyway, it's about the love you have for what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And the universe will provide a way because your heart is leading the way. When you lead with love, once again, everything will take care of itself after that. And that's the path that I follow with whoever's sitting across from me.
So are there any success stories?
Numerous.
Okay.
Just like it's numerous ones where they fail, it's numerous ones where they succeed. Daniel Darby, the list goes on.
I don't know if we should mention any.
Yeah, I don't want to mention names, but Daniel wouldn't be mad if I mentioned his. Okay. But there's many. And it happens when the person takes control. Don't let a substance or a person control you. You have to take control of your life. This is your life. So that's what I try to instill in them. Don't let some inanimate object or maybe an animate object, don't let a person or substance control you. You control you. and your life will start to go all right if you follow the right path.
So you all do teach the people that are in your program, you teach them that you are responsible for what you do.
Oh, of course.
Without a doubt.
Of course. They come with a lot of excuses all the time, and I shut them down most of the time after I've gotten too many, because things happen, I understand. But when things continue to happen, you're drawing that energy to you
Right.
by what you do. So the excuses have to stop after a while.
So tell me about the holistic approach to reentry for returning citizens.
Well, for me, that's the only approach. I've been through several programs. When I was in federal prison, I took the RDAP program and did very well in that. I was actually the main speaker at the graduation ceremony. Even though I didn't have an abuse at the time, I just wanted to go to learn more. I didn't have a substance issue, and it gave me time off too. But I really didn't have a substance issue. I wanted to go in and help, and that's what I eventually ended up doing. Hooked up with a good counselor, and he saw what I was trying to do, and he made me the keynote speaker at the graduation because I was about helping the guys. I had been through recovery myself as an ex-cocaine addict, so I know what it took, and I know what it takes.
Now, I want to ask you this question. Do you believe that the problem of black men being raised without fathers, you think that's the reason why so many black men end up in prison?
Can I go first?
Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, I don't want to take it over, but yes, that's the main reason. When we would take Claudine, I'm going to just say Claudine to you because the movie Claudine explains it all. But when black men were taken out of the household, now you don't have that balance that you need in the household for your household to go right. You need masculine and feminine energy in your household. And when that was taken out and that little boy is seeing all feminine energy all the time, now he's emotional all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's all he sees. Aunties and sisters and mama and them being emotional. There's daddy not there to give you that balance. So now the little boy grows up emotional. And he's quick to pop off because that's all he's ever seen. Yes, it's the main reason. Because they plan our lives out 10, 20 years down the line. And it has worked. The projects were a project. They were exactly that, a project. So yes, that's the main reason we don't have the mask. We used to say they need to hear some bass in your voice. Right?
I remember that.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's what I'm talking about. He don't hear that bass. Now, on top of that, you got men scared to say something to the young guy. Oh, man, they crazy. If we don't say something to him, who gonna say something to him? We the ones that are their fathers, their uncles, the ones that they should be looking up to. Don't be afraid to say something to the young. He actually wants you to say something. If you say it right, he gonna do what you say. Come respectfully because, once again, they're emotional. So, yes, in answer to your question, my brother, it's the main reason.
I'm going to tag on to that. I'm going to totally agree with that, but I want to tag on to it in a couple of different ways. One is we have to, you can only play the hand that you're dealt. And we have to be accountable for our actions and our choices. And sometimes people don't understand not making a choice or not doing a certain thing is a choice, is an action. So we have to be accountable. And I think sometimes we want to give excuses to our surroundings and not be accountable. And I think we have to be more accountable. But the other thing that I want to add to that is Rick mentioned the fact that we do a life skills class. We also do what we don't really have a name for it, but sometimes we have returning citizens. We'll pull them off to the side, go over in the kitchen, Rick, Ernest, myself, and we kind of, keep it real.
Pull them in, chop it up with them.
Yes, and we have discussions with them, and they can understand that these are black men that, in some cases been where they're going, been where they've been. Other cases care about what they do, and they listen to us. So I think that we have to do more of that. You have to play the hand that you're dealt, but you can also help those that, be there for those that need it. And that's what we do at OBK.
So do you think that a lot of black conservatives say this a lot? Do you think that the war on poverty programs that were instituted by the Johnson administration back in the late 60s is one reason why the man is no longer in the home?
In estimation, to me, that's when it started. When those welfare policies involved a male not being in the home. How can you take a man out of his own home with his children just to give him a few dollars? And they taught our sisters to buy into that through the feminist movement. The feminist movement wasn't for our sisters. That was for white women, if I may say.
So you think the feminist movement did hurt the nuclear family?
Our nuclear family, yes. Because they had no beef with us. We had families. Our family wasn't beefing. That's when our family was last together, if you think about it. So that feminist movement wasn't us looking for our women looking for respect. It was them looking for respect from their men. But they brought us into it. That wasn't our fight. Now we got the women fighting us. Well, we was together. Do look at the numbers. That was the last time our marriage rate was at its highest. Now it's at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so how does one get in touch with OBK?
I'm glad you asked that question. You can Google us, Our Brothers Keepers of Southern Illinois. Our email address is obkministry at gmail.com. Is a way that you can reach out to us. Our phone number is 618-271-7821. Our address is we reside at 614 North 7th Street in East St. Louis, Illinois. I'm sorry about that. In East St. Louis, Illinois, 62201. And, if you're interested in what we do, we would love for anyone to call us to come take a tour of the building, see what we do. Also, come and donate. You can schedule a donation. You can make a drop off at our address. You can call us and schedule a donation. So there's tons of ways that you can reach us. I've given you my card and Rick's card. You can reach out to the two of us to if you want more personal information about what we do at OBK.
Sure. Okay. And before we go, how'd you get this nickname Rickathon?
Okay. Rickathon does a lot of things. And let me say, those opinions, those are my opinions. There's not the opinion of OBK. Those are Rick's opinions, okay? Let me just say that. Rickathon comes from a friend of mine, Mario Spencer, and we all had nicknames for each other. I'm not going to name those that we called him. But mine, he said that I never gave up. And he said I was like a marathon, Rick, you never give up.
Right.
And Rickathon, it just came out, and he just started calling me that. And it stuck. It was hip. It was cool, and everybody started calling me that, and that's how that evolved.
Okay.
My name is Rick, Frederick, so he took it from that.
Okay, they could call you Rick James, right?
They do call me Rick James because Frederick James.
Okay. All right, well, brothers, thank you again. These is Frederick Rickathon James and Kevin McReynolds of Our Brothers Keepers of Southern Illinois. Thank you all for coming by, and thank you again.
You're welcome, brother.
Kevin, thanks for having us.
Okay.
Thank you, my
All
brother.
right. Well, we're going to get back into the music. We're going to give you a little taste of our CD of the week this week. We're going to feature the new CD by saxophonist Mr. James Brandis. This is music by the James Brandon Lewis Trio. I'm going to give you 2 prime choice cuts from their CD of the week. Here's music by the James Brandon Lewis Trio. Yeah. Oh, yeah.